Grimdark. Half off! If you're familiar with Conan Exiles, the name Skelos might make you think of the Well of Skelos dungeon, or if you're a server owner, the Shadows of Skelos mod may be a regular in your collection. To Conan tabletop players, you'll know the Book of Skelos as the first real expansion on magic-using classes in the game. But why is it relevant? More importantly, why is Necronomicon in the title of this video? Let's find out. To walk the path of sorcery is to reject all simple and feeble-minded mortal concepts, including man's pathetically clung-to morality, in favor of one's own power. Such was the case for the highly mysterious mage known as Skelos. There are many theories on his true identity, two of which assume him to be a serpent man and two of which assume him to be a human. We know only that he was a male mage who was born long before the time of Conan. The two human possibilities come to us from Marvel's view of the Hyborian Age, placing the original author as either a human mage, truly named Skelos, or a figure known as Vathalos the Blind. Our Serpent Man idea comes from the Well of Skelos dungeon, which takes place within a crumbling Serpent Man city in the video game Conan Exiles. One possible title for Skelos may be Skelos the Degenerate, placing him as the boss at the end of the Well of Skelos dungeon and the last of the pure-blooded Serpent Men. This title would certainly be in line with the contents of his book, as it has been said by dedicated fans to rival the Necronomicon in contents, or possibly be one of the ancient texts included in its 700s creation by Abdul al-Hazrad. However, my theory would be that Skelos was most likely a Serpent Man, of far greater power than the Degenerate, given that he is able to be defeated by the player in Conan Exiles, who, for all intents and purposes, is merely a side character in a Conan story. It is most likely that the true Skelos was an ancient pure-blooded Serpent Man mage, and the Degenerate was one of his many followers or students. If Skelos was indeed a Serpent Man, it would place him as a worshipper of the snake god Set, as they were his original followers, though we cannot be sure of this fact, as seeking magical power almost always comes with tenuous positions on established religions. On the other hand, given that one of his students or himself is seemingly the governing body of the last city of Serpent Men, Set worship may be required for that position of honor in their society. One of the greatest things about the Conan universe is that no matter how many games or stories we have to explore it, we will always ultimately be like novice archaeologists staring at the first tomb of an undiscovered Neolithic civilization. Moving on to the book itself, it is known to no one's surprise as a great tome of sorcery. Its alternate aliases include Skelos Book, Ironbound Book of Skelos, Scrolls of Skelos, and Secret Scrolls of Skelos. Its previous owners include the horned human sorcerer Ranefi, who was cursed by the book with immortality at an already old age, requiring another to end his life for him to be freed. He selected, correctly, Conan for this task. After this, the book would find itself in the possession of the figure many consider to be Conan's arch-enemy, the sorcerer Thoth Amon, who's worthy of his own video. After that, it would find its way to the Aquilonian Librarium, followed by an unnamed temple in Vendhya, before one of its pages fell into the arms of amateur sorcerer Tosia Zul. Sho Onoru of the Black Ring would be its next owner, assumedly inherited by his slave who became his legal heir, the Prince Zula. Its final known owner would be the priest of Ibis, Caranthes, who would have it delivered to him from the pirate city of Messentia in Argos by Red Sonja. Using the previous owners, at least literary inspiration relation to the Necronomicon, and tabletop book, we can infer that the rituals contained within the book are most likely highly detailed and need to be performed to the letter without a hair's breadth of variation, lest curses such as the agelessness of Ranefi fall upon you. Its subject matter most likely includes, but is not limited to, the following: alchemy, charismatic salesmanship, enlightenment, philosophy, general sorcery, the primitive crafts of witch doctors, necromancy, mesmerism or illusion magic, mummery, herbalism, human sacrifice, astrology, a catalog of god-associated artifacts, including the serpent rings of Set, lending more credence to the idea that Skelos was indeed a serpent man, ancient technologies, scientific oddities, advanced exalted sorcery, the summoning of eldritch horrors, the craft of monster modification, and a history of sorcery starting at the dawn of time, leading into the Hyborian Age, in which Thoth Amon and Conan currently reside at the time of Conan Exiles. As a final note on its relation to the Necronomicon with the Cthulhu mythos, it is said to be a separate book with no intact copies left in existence. This does not mean that the text could not have contributed to Abdul al-Hazrad's writing of the Kitab al-Azif, or Book of the Dead, known as the Necronomicon. Thank you for watching or listening. If you enjoyed the content, be sure to subscribe, comment, and share the video with those you think might enjoy it, for it is only through the audience that I survive. Of course, to end, I'd like to know your theories. Who do you think Skelos was and why? What interests you most about the assumed contents of the Book of Skelos? Do you think that the book contributed to the later writings of the Necronomicon, or is it merely the Howard-verse equal to Lovecraft's 1927 creation? I look forward to hearing your thoughts below. Some stories, including or mentioning the Book of Skelos, are Conan and the Sorcerer, 1978, Conan the Mercenary, 1979, Conan the Sword of Skelos, reprinted 1981, Conan the Pool of the Black One, 1986, and Conan the Book of Skelos for the tabletop, which is where we got our little list of contents previously in the video.